The morning begins like a held breath, a quiet hum, a flicker of light across the classroom window, and the faint scent of coffee cooling on a desk. Nothing extraordinary, and yet, something in the air feels different today, gentler, more possible. The teacher stands by the window, watching dust drift through a slice of sunlight. She doesn't rush to speak. She waits for the room to find its rhythm, the shuffle of notebooks, the zipper of a backpack, the small cough of someone who isn't quite ready for the day. Outside, the wind presses softly against the glass, asking permission to come in. Inside, 20 different nervous systems are negotiating the same question. Is it safe to be seen here? Some students glance up, then away. Others hide behind laughter or the glow of their phones. One girl stares at the window so long she almost disappears into it. We don't talk about this much, the invisible tension that hums beneath learning. But before a single word is written, everybody in the room is listening for something deeper than instructions. It's listening for safety. You felt this, haven't you? That subtle scan of the room, the quick check of tone and eyes and space. It's not about knowledge. It's about nervous systems whispering to one another. Can I rest here? Before the brain opens to curiosity, the body searches for calm. The teacher smiles, a small, patient smile that feels like an invitation rather than a test. She adjusts the blinds just enough to let the light spill across the desks, the kind that says, "You don't have to prove anything right now. Just arrive." The right kind of light doesn't demand attention. It offers it. She starts not with facts, but with breath. "Let's try something," she says, her voice quiet as lemon. "Breathe in like you're smelling warm cookies. Breathe out like you're cooling soup." The room hesitates, then follows. A few smiles. A few awkward exhales. The air softens, shoulders lower. The window brightens. Across the room, a boy taps his pencil, steady, rhythmic. It's not impatience. It's the body's way of saying, "I'm trying to stay present." He glances at the window, watching his reflection blur slightly in the light. For a moment, he doesn't look like a student. He looks like someone trying to remember how to belong. And maybe that's what all learning really is, a remembering. A remembering that curiosity isn't something we have to earn. It's something that grows when we feel safe enough to wonder again. In the back row, someone yawns, not out of boredom, but relief. Even the smallest permission to slow down feels like oxygen. The body learns first through feeling, then through thought. The teacher writes one sentence on the board. Write one true thing about your morning. No grading, no right answer, just honesty. A few pens hover unsure. Then, softly, ink begins to move. "I missed my bus. My mom made pancakes. I didn't sleep well. I'm here anyway." The window glows brighter like it approves. It's funny how truth, even small truth, can warm a room faster than heat. Across town, in an office, a manager prepares for a meeting. They'll ask a question they already know the answer to, just to sound prepared. Their stomach will twist, not from fear of failure, but from the same question these students carry. Will this room be kind to my mistakes? We call it professionalism. Sometimes it's just disguised self-protection. The teacher walks slowly between the rows. "You don't have to know everything today," she says. "You just have to show up as yourself." A few heads lift. A few spines straighten. Outside, the sunlight climbs higher, touching each desk like a quiet promise. You are not behind. You are still becoming. And you, listening now, you've been in rooms like this too. Boardrooms, classrooms, living rooms. Places where your mind wanted to open, but your body was still scanning for danger. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Your body has always tried to keep you safe. It just needs new evidence now. Proof that this space, this moment, this version of you is finally allowed to learn in peace. Safety isn't stillness. It's permission to move without fear. The teacher pauses, then turns back toward the window. The light lands softly on her hands and she lets it stay there. Open palms, steady breath. "This," she says, "is how we begin. Not with answers, with atmosphere." Outside, the leaves tremble like applause. Inside, pencils move again, tentative, then certain. You can almost feel the collective nervous system sigh. Somewhere, a clock ticks. But for once, it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like rhythm. A calm room is not a slow room. It's a room that remembers we're human. Before the next lesson begins, the teacher looks at the window one more time. Its glass carries a faint fog from the student's breath, proof of life, proof of warmth, proof that something unseen is happening here. Learning, yes, but also healing. The window glows brighter now, holding both inside and outside in one shared light. And quietly, without announcement, the day has already begun to teach. But not every day feels like this. Some rooms are colder, some questions echo. And when fear walks in, curiosity hides behind the door. Fear rarely enters a room loudly. It slips in disguised as a sigh, a clenched jaw, a throat that forgets how to speak. We call it nervousness, distraction, lack of focus. But beneath those polite names, the body is whispering a truth it's carried for years. I don't feel safe enough to try. Across the classroom, the light from the window has changed. It was clear a moment ago, but now a soft fog covers the glass, like the room itself is exhaling. Each breath leaves a small mark that fades, then returns, like memory replaying. Fear works the same way. It fades when we rest, returns when pressure knocks. A student stares at the board, the question written in perfect blue marker. They know the answer, they studied, but when the teacher calls their name, the mind goes blank, like a door that's suddenly locked. Their pulse climbs, the hands sweat. Outside, the tree sways in sunlight. Inside, their body braces for something that never comes. We were taught that fear is mental, something to overcome. But the truth is simpler and more human. The nervous system learns faster than the mind does. It remembers every sharp voice, every public correction, every time curiosity was punished for not knowing enough. And now, even in kind rooms, it still flinches. The body never forgets what it learned about safety. A boy in the back hides behind humor. Every time he's unsure, he cracks a joke. The room laughs, and for a few seconds he feels safe again. Laughter becomes his shield, cleverness his armor. But even armor gets heavy. You can't hold a shield and reach for new things at the same time. A woman in an evening class types slower than the rest. She keeps checking if her microphone is off. When it's her turn to speak, she apologizes before every sentence. Sorry, I might be wrong. But she isn't wrong. She's remembering the sting of being corrected in front of others. Her brain wants to share. Her body wants to hide. Fear doesn't always shout, run. Sometimes it whispers, shrink. The window fogs again, and the teacher walks over, tracing a small circle in the glass. Through it, the world outside looks clearer. A patch of sky, a leaf, a bit of sun. See this? She says quietly. The glass fogs because the room is warm. It means we're alive in here. The students smile. It's such a small truth, but it lands deep. Warmth doesn't mean weakness. Warmth means possibility. Sometimes we forget that curiosity is a biological privilege. It can only exist when the body feels safe. A brain in defense mode can memorize, but it can't wonder. It can obey, but it can't imagine. And yet, our culture confuses pressure for motivation. We praise exhaustion. We mistake silence for discipline. We tell kids to try harder, instead of asking, what does your body need to feel safe enough to try? The teacher senses the heaviness and lowers her tone even further. She knows what the science says. A calm voice signals safety. Every syllable she speaks is an open door to the nervous system. Let's slow down, she says. You're not behind. You're just braced. Something shifts. A girl exhales like she's been holding her breath for years. A boy writes again, slower this time, not to impress, but to remember. The light through the window softens as if approving. A mind can't open when its heart is on guard. This is what fear does. It builds armor out of good intentions. It tells you that staying silent is smart, that not asking questions keeps you safe. And maybe once it did. But what protected you then might be the very thing that keeps you small now. The window clears a little more. You can see the outline of the tree again. Strong, patient, unhurried. Learning isn't about speed. It's about returning to safety, again and again, until curiosity feels brave enough to come back out. The bell rings, soft and distant. Chairs scrape. Laughter rises like sunlight after rain. The room doesn't know it yet, but something important has already shifted. They've learned one of the quietest lessons of all. Calm is not the opposite of effort. It's the condition that makes effort possible. And sometimes, all it takes is one small gesture, one voice that softens, one look that says, "You're safe here," to bring curiosity back to life. Sometimes, the turning point arrives quietly, like a door left ajar. No grand announcement, no thunderclap, just one small, merciful pause. The next morning, the classroom feels lighter, though no one can say why. Maybe it's the air after rain. Maybe it's the teacher's slower tone. Maybe it's that the body remembers safety just as vividly as it remembers threat. The students are writing again, but today the lesson is different. A short poem, a free response, nothing to grade, nothing to defend. Still, the same old pattern hums beneath the surface, shoulders raised, hearts quickened, pencils trembling before they touch paper. The teacher walks slowly between the rows, noticing the held breaths, the small frowns. Then she kneels beside a student frozen mid-sentence and says softly, "Let's try again, together." 4 words, that's all. But in that moment, the nervous system receives a new message. You're not in danger. The student's jaw unclenches, their breath deepens, the pencil moves. The question didn't change, the feeling in the room did. What happened isn't mystical, it's biological. Safety travels faster than logic. It moves through eyes, tone, and presence long before it reaches thought. One calm nervous system can help another find its footing. The teacher doesn't realize she's just modeled co-regulation, a scientific term for a deeply human gift. It's what happens when connection tells the body, "You don't have to guard right now." Across the room, something ripples. Another student exhales loudly, then laughs at the sound. The laughter spreads, small and nervous at first, then warmer, easier. Even the boy who usually hides behind jokes lets his hand rest on the desk instead of fidgeting. It's as if the whole room is learning how to breathe again. The window glows brighter. The fog thins. You can see the outside clearly now. Trees shimmering after rain. The world holding its breath alongside them. The teacher asks a simple question. What does curiosity feel like in your body? The answers come slowly, haltingly, honest. It feels like leaning forward. It feels like light in my chest. It feels like wanting to know what happens next. She nods. That's it. Curiosity isn't just a thought. It's a physical state. Your body opens before your mind does. And you realize how true that is. Not just in school, but everywhere. The meeting that felt heavy because someone's tone was sharp. The conversation that ended too soon because your heart was still in defense mode. The project you stopped halfway because your inner voice sounded more like a drill sergeant than a friend. Fear narrows the world. Calm widens it. And between those two states is a tiny, sacred moment. The moment we remember we can choose. Calm isn't weakness. It's access to everything you thought you'd lost. The student who froze yesterday raises a hand now. Their voice is small but steady. They answer the question, stumble halfway, blush, and then finish. No one laughs. Instead, the teacher smiles like it's the most ordinary miracle in the world. The classroom exhales with them, and in that collective breath, something ancient and hopeful moves. Proof that safety isn't silence, it's permission. When class ends, the teacher lingers by the window. She wipes away the last smudge of fog with her sleeve, and for a second, her reflection merges with the sky outside. It's beautiful in its ordinariness, the way small care can transform a space. Calm doesn't erase effort, it gives it somewhere to land. Outside, sunlight pools on the sidewalk, and you imagine every classroom, every home, every workplace trying this small experiment. Slower tone, softer start, one deep breath before correction. It wouldn't fix everything, but it might make learning possible again. Because what Stephen Porges discovered, and what this teacher just lived, is that the body's sense of safety is the foundation of every kind of growth. Brains bloom only when they believe the room is kind. The bell rings, desks shift, the air carries laughter instead of tension. You can almost hear the nervous systems whispering their relief. The teacher takes one last look at the open window, the same one that fogged, then cleared. Light spills across the floor, unhurried, whole, and in that quiet shimmer, you can feel it. The body's truth, steady and ancient. When it feels safe, it learns. When it feels seen, it grows. When it feels calm, it finally remembers itself. And if safety can change a single classroom, what might it mean for every space where we live, work, and love? What happened in that classroom wasn't magic. It was biology, doing what it was designed to do. Stephen Porges calls it the polyvagal system, a gentle way of saying that our hearts, lungs, and breath are constantly listening for signs of safety. Before the mind can focus, the body must first believe, I'm not in danger. Only then does curiosity return. When you walk into any room, a classroom, an office, even your own kitchen, your nervous system starts scanning, not consciously, not with judgment, but with care. It notices tone, posture, rhythm, warmth. It listens for kindness. This is called neuroception, the body's quiet radar for connection. The body listens for safety long before the ears hear a word. In the story of learning, this changes everything. It means the most important lesson isn't the one written on the board. It's the one written in the atmosphere. If the room says, you belong here, the mind opens like a flower. If it says, prove yourself, it closes like a fist. The teacher in our story didn't know the term polyvagal. She didn't need to. Her nervous system simply offered what the theory describes: co-regulation. That's when one calm body helps another remember what peace feels like. It's the biology of kindness, the science of empathy. We think of learning as mental work, but it's deeply relational. Every calm teacher, every patient parent, every friend who slows their breathing beside you, they're doing neuroscience in real time. They're helping your system come back to safe and social, the state where growth can finally happen. Connection isn't sentimental, it's scientific. And you don't have to be a teacher to practice this. Think of the last tense meeting you were in. The air thick, the conversation sharp. One person sighs, another raises their voice, and suddenly everyone's heart rate spikes. No one hears nuance anymore. They're all scanning for threat. Then someone lowers their tone, unclenches their hands, and says, let's take a breath. The whole room shifts. That's co-regulation. That's the polyvagal system at work, biology choosing peace. You see it in a parent's hug that stops a child's tears mid-breath, in the friend who listens without interrupting until your body remembers it's not alone, in the quiet nurse who says, you're safe, before the needle touches skin. Safety is more than protection. It's participation. And here's the secret. Calm doesn't mean quiet. It means connection strong enough to hold emotion without breaking. A calm classroom can still buzz with laughter, still hold debate, still challenge ideas, but underneath, there's trust. It's the trust that mistakes won't become weapons, that effort matters more than perfection. Calm is not silence, it's trust made audible. For centuries, we thought discipline was control. Now we know real discipline begins with regulation, the ability to stay steady when things wobble. A calm mind isn't passive, it's powerful enough to stay open. That's what Porges teaches. Safety isn't softness, it's strength used wisely. So if you ever feel your mind close in fear, start not with thoughts, but with breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale longer than you think you need. You're not just breathing. You're teaching your nervous system the language of safety again. Each breath is a note in a conversation your body's been waiting to have. The teacher in our story stands now by the open window, watching light pour over the desks. She doesn't speak. She just listens to the rustle of paper, the small laughter, the heartbeat of a room learning how to learn again. That's the polyvagal light, unseen yet everywhere. Brains don't bloom under pressure. They bloom when the room feels safe. This is the heart of it, the intersection of science and soul. Safety isn't the absence of challenge. It's the foundation that lets challenge become growth. And curiosity, that brave, childlike spark, is the mind's way of saying, I feel safe enough to explore again. The window stays open. The sunlight moves slowly across the floor, steady and kind. For once, no one rushes to close it. They just breathe together. And learning, once again, feels like home. But theory only becomes truth when it's lived. How can we bring this calm, this quiet science of connection, into our daily lives, where deadlines, noise, and worry still wait outside the window? The beauty of science is how ordinary it becomes once we live it. Stephen Porges gave us language for something our bodies have known forever. Safety opens us. Fear shuts us down. Connection lets us grow. But understanding this isn't enough. We have to practice it. in classrooms, offices, families, and quiet corners of our own minds. Because theory can explain the nervous system, but only daily tenderness can retrain it. Let's begin where life usually feels heaviest. The morning rush, emails, alarms, children half-dressed, coffee gone cold. Your body wakes up already running. You call it getting ready, but your heart calls it surviving. Tone reset. Before speaking, breathe. It sounds trivial, but breath changes biology. When you take one deep breath before giving feedback, before answering the phone, before stepping into a difficult room, you shift your body out of fight or flight. That breath says, "We're okay." It tells your nervous system to lower the guard, and the moment changes. You notice it in children immediately. A teacher who scolds tightens the whole room. A teacher who softens her voice brings heads up, not down. Calm tone doesn't mean we ignore mistakes. It means we teach through steadiness, not fear. Calm authority is not weaker, it's wiser. You can try it at home. Before reacting to a partner, a coworker, or your child, breathe once. Then speak softer than you feel. Watch how the conversation changes shape. Anger shrinks in softer air. Micro-connection. Begin with a human check-in. Good morning. How's your day so far? I'm glad you're here. These phrases seem small, but they act like passwords that unlock trust. When someone feels seen, their body stops guarding. And when the guard drops, real communication begins. Think about your workplace. The meetings that begin in silence feel colder, sharper. The ones that start with warmth, a moment of laughter, a small story, always flow better. That's not coincidence. That's neurobiology. Safety widens the prefrontal cortex, the brain's bridge to reasoning, empathy, and creativity. Before people learn from you, they need to feel safe near you. Body signal. Unclench your jaw. Lower your shoulders. Our bodies broadcast our stories before our mouths do. When tension builds, we often don't notice the posture of defense. Arms crossed, brow furrowed, back tight. Relaxing those signals tells others, and ourselves, the threat is gone. It's permission, quietly spoken through muscle memory. In relationships, this matters more than words. A calm face and relaxed tone can dissolve hours of misunderstanding. The body is honest. It cannot fake safety, but it can practice it. Visual safety. Design spaces that whisper peace. A window with light, a plant near a desk, a family photo in a hallway. These are not decorations. They are safety cues. The eyes feed calm directly to the nervous system. When the environment feels alive, the body feels included. Even digital spaces need this. A messy desktop or harsh lighting can trigger the same stress loop as a raised voice. Gentle order is not aesthetic vanity. It's emotional hygiene. The places we create are quiet teachers too. Emotional rhythm. Trade rush for rhythm. We glorify speed, fast learners, fast results, fast success. But growth has a natural tempo. Inhale, exhale, effort, rest. When we skip the rest, the lesson never lands. A teacher who ends class with 1 minute of silence, a manager who allows pauses in conversation, a parent who listens without fixing, all of them teach rhythm. They show that learning and healing move in cycles, not straight lines. This rhythm applies inwardly too. Your own self-talk shapes your biology. When you rush your heart, get over it, be better, move on, you recreate the same pressure that closed the window in the first place. But when you say, "We're learning, we're still safe," you reopen it. The brain relaxes. Curiosity breathes again. Learning thrives on rhythm, not rush. Let's step back. Each of these small acts, breath, tone, presence, rhythm, carries quiet humanity. They ask nothing dramatic, no grand transformation, only attention, only care, and together they reshape our days into gentler classrooms. Think about how this changes a home. A child hears less shouting, more listening. A spouse feels less judged, more understood. Arguments shrink, trust grows. Think about how it changes work. Meetings end with clarity instead of tension. Mistakes turn into lessons, not evidence of failure. The deeper truth behind Porges' science is that calm is not a mood, it's a message. It says, you belong, you are safe enough to try again. That message is universal, older than science, younger than tomorrow. It's the message every human wants to hear when life feels too loud. Safety is not the end of growth, it's where growth begins. So when you walk into your next classroom, your next meeting, your next moment of doubt. Remember this: you don't have to control the whole room. You only have to regulate one nervous system, yours, because calm is contagious. And the calm you bring becomes the curriculum everyone remembers. Tomorrow, when the sunlight returns to that same window, something in you will remember this quiet lesson: that every act of calm is an act of teaching, and every gentle breath is proof that you're learning too. Morning returns, soft and gold, the kind of light that feels like a promise kept. The same classroom, the same window, yet everything is slightly different now. The air hums with steadiness. The desks hold stories of small courage. Yesterday's fog has lifted. The teacher stands by the window again, her hand resting on the sill. Outside, a branch sways, light glinting on each leaf. She watches, unhurried. The body knows how to exhale now. Inside, the students gather, laughing quietly about something ordinary. But underneath that laughter is something new: ease. It's hard to describe the sound of a calm room. It isn't silence, it's harmony, a rhythm of breathing, moving, being together. There's no grand triumph here, just the slow music of trust rebuilt. When safety returns, curiosity remembers its way home. The teacher begins class without words. She opens the window a little wider. Cool air flows in, brushing across faces, carrying the faint scent of rain on pavement. Someone sighs, not from stress, but from belonging. You can almost feel the nervous system settling into their natural rhythm again. And maybe that's the real lesson: that peace isn't a permanent state. It's a practice, a returning. Fear will visit again because that's what life does. Deadlines, arguments, disappointments, they'll knock at the window sometimes. But now, this room knows how to breathe them through. Across the desks are the small symbols of learning: a doodle on a notebook, a word underlined twice, a question mark that looks almost like a flower stem. Each mark says the same thing: I was here, I tried. The teacher asks softly, "What felt different this week?" A hand rises. "I didn't feel stupid when I didn't know something," a girl says. Another adds, "I think I listened better when I wasn't scared." Heads nod. The truth spreads gently like light across water. When the heart is calm, the mind can stay open long enough to understand. This isn't only about classrooms. We live in a world built on performance, constant noise, constant measurement. But beneath all that, the body still longs for the same simple thing: safety. We all want to learn, to connect, to grow, but not under threat. We learn fastest in kindness. We remember longest in calm. So what if every space we walked into carried the same energy as this window? Open, forgiving, full of air and light. What if workplaces felt like this? Homes? What if leadership began with breath? What if parenting began with softness instead of hurry? The answer isn't far away. It begins with a single nervous system: yours. Every calm tone you bring, every deep breath you take before speaking, every small moment of grace you offer becomes a tiny contagion of peace. And the more often we practice it, the more natural it becomes. You've seen it already, how one gentle gesture can change a room. You saw it when the teacher knelt beside that frightened student. You saw it when laughter replaced silence. You saw it when the fog cleared from the window. That was healing. Quiet, visible healing. The calm you bring is the light you teach by. Outside, the sunlight stretches across the desks again, the same way it did on the first morning. But now, the students don't shrink from it. They reach into it. One leans forward, pencil steady. Another opens the window wider without being asked. The teacher doesn't interrupt. She knows learning has already begun, because learning isn't always visible. Sometimes it's just the sound of a room that trusts itself again. The window stands open now, wide and sure, letting in the hum of the street, the flutter of leaves, the heartbeat of the world continuing. In that sound lives the quiet miracle of the human body, wired for protection, but made for connection. And maybe that's the real ending, or perhaps the real beginning. Every act of calm we choose, in classrooms, in meetings, in homes, is how the world learns again to feel safe. So as you move into your own day, carry this truth gently. You are not behind. You are becoming. Safety lives in your breath, not in your perfection. And each calm moment you offer, to yourself, to a stranger, to the world, reopens the window of possibility. Peace doesn't arrive, it's built, one steady breath at a time. The gold of soft wind through the open window, a page turning, distant laughter, the sound of life learning to be safe again.